Hi everybody, I'm Marvin Kemp, the CSI Board Chair-elect. I'm here at the CSI studio at Construct, and joining me today is our brand new fellow, Cherise Lakeside.
Hi Marvin, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You had a good time last night?
I did have a good time last night.
It's a big night.
It was
Earning
a big
fellowship is a great honor.
I'm honored and excited and still kind of trying to believe it, to be perfectly honest.
It takes a little while, but you'll settle in.
It does.
It's great. The second time you put the medal on, it's a great experience.
It's, from what I understand from other fellows, I might be a bit of an anomaly, just because I've only been in CSI for 8 years, and you can't even consider fellowship until you've been in for 5.
5, right.
And while they don't have the records, there's some suspicion that I might be one of, if not the shortest tenured person
Maybe.
to get fellowship. And so that was kind of surprising.
So you've obviously, in a very short period of time, made a tremendous impact on CSI and on the AEC community. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do for a living.
So I live in Portland, Oregon, and I am just recently, I've joined RDH Building Science as their senior spec writer.
Right.
And so I'll be working with all of their offices in US and Canada. CSC,
Wow.
I'm coming for you too. And writing their specs and setting up, good solid processes, which is awesome.
Right.
So that's what I do. And then my other full-time job is CSI. Overtime for that one sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit of overtime for all of us. Sure, yeah. So, how did you get into specification writing, and how did you get into the AEC industry?
That's a funny story. I started in this industry really inadvertently when I was a senior in high school. I was 17 and I had enough credits to only go to school half the day. So I was looking for a job that I could start at noon, work the other half of the day, make some money.
Right.
And I got a job. My mom had a friend, was office manager at a construction company, and she hired me as a receptionist from noon to 5 every day.
Oh, wow.
And so I'd get out of school, take the bus down the road, and go answer their phones. What was kind of notable about that is Evelyn, the woman who was my boss there, she was a very, especially during that time, a very smart, assertive, self-confident woman. And she's like, well, don't think you're just answering the phones. We hired you for that, but I'm going to teach you about contracts, and I'm going to teach you about the industry. And that was in construction. So I ended up learning all kinds of crazy things while I worked there. And my goal wasn't to be a spec writer. My goal was actually to write for Time magazine and travel all over the world writing human interest stories. But then I got a job. I left that job, did some other things for a while, and got a job in an architecture firm, again, as a receptionist. And the 80s weren't always easy for women. I mean, there was points in my career I was required to wear a dress and heels to work. Things obviously, thankfully, have changed a lot. But I happened to, at that firm, work for 3 men that didn't care that I was young, didn't care that I was female, but they did care that I was smart and motivated, and I was constantly saying, well, why? Why do you do that? How do you do that? What is that? What's a schematic design? I mean, I knew nothing.
Came with the basics.
Right. For 22 years, they mentored me, and they taught me how to write specs. They taught me everything about construction management. I wrote all the contracts. I negotiated fees with our consultants and wrote all the contracts with our owners. It was a smaller firm, and I was allowed to wear a lot of hats. And all of a sudden, 22 years went by, and I was still writing specs, among other things. The economy tanked, they closed the office, and that's when I had to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Right.
And I didn't work for a couple of years because nobody was hiring, and then ended up working. My first job back after that of the recession was at an MEP engineering firm. That was a consultant at my first firm. And I ended up writing specs and establishing standards and processes for them for almost 6 years. Then got an opportunity to move back to the architecture side of things. And that was at Anchor Moyson. And that was my first job solely as a spec writer.
Spec writer, right.
And when I was at Interface, the MEP firm, that's when I joined CSI. So I've been in almost 8 years now.
Right.
And they really empowered me. I went and said, my kids are grown. I have time for this now, and I want to do this. And they forked over the money for me to be involved. Ended up teaching the CDT there to the staff more than once, different groups.
Yeah.
And they just really empowered me to get involved here. So then I went nuts here.
Right.
Ended up back over at LSW, and that was really my first full-time only being a spec writer job. Keeping in mind that from the time I was 20, everything I had learned was, I'm truly trained in the trenches. I actually didn't go to college.
Right.
I didn't obviously don't have an architecture degree.
Sure.
And the job I do is typically reserved, not always, but most people that do it are registered architects.
Most.
And I've just had one opportunity after another in my career with people who really empowered me and helped me grow and gave me confidence when I didn't have it myself. I've had a lot of those, especially in CSI.
Yeah.
A lot of I don't know how many of you included, have slapped me upside the head here and there and said, girl, you got this.
Yeah, definitely.
And so now I'm trying out building science.
Great.
And that variety of education has also solidified the way that I do my work and how I look at my work when I do it. And I have a unique lens due to that, which has been a benefit. But it's the mentors I've had all along the way that didn't let anything stand in my way.
Right.
That really got me here.
So how has the mentorship relationships that you've had as a mentee or a protege, how has that influenced how you mentor our younger generation of construction professionals?
I think that as I was coming through, number one, I don't believe in having a mentor.
Right.
I believe you should have an advocate. So I'll tell somebody, I'll be your advocate, but when you come to me with something I don't know, I'm not going to try and bluff my way through that.
Right.
Or if I only know a little bit about it, I'm going to tell you, I don't know, but I know somebody who does, and I'm going to help create that relationship for you, open
Right.
that door for you, because that can be intimidating.
It can be.
And I struggle with that on and off when I was younger in my career, in feeling confident enough to go to somebody who I was, really respected, that knew everything, like I'm going to sound stupid, or I'm going to be bothering this important person. And so when I mentor now, we get that out of the way right away. And I encourage the young professionals I mentor, my favorite saying to them is, don't let fear stand in your way.
Right.
Because I did it. And that I don't know, I'd be queen of the world now if I hadn't, probably.
Probably.
But what I try to do more than anything is really empower them to own who they are, not to ever feel, I don't believe there's a stupid question. I ask what some people would say are stupid questions every single day, and I don't care if somebody looks at me and says that's a stupid question, then that's not somebody I want for a mentor in the first place.
Probably not somebody you want to work with.
If you don't know something and you need to learn it, you're the smartest person in the room if you're asking.
Right.
And so I try to empower them to really be able to reach out to a lot of different people and not be intimidated by that person's status. Sure, they might be really busy. Just approach in a respectful, when you have a little time, I'd really love if you would share your knowledge on this. Everybody I know that's been around a long time that's really great at what they do is more than happy and honored to be able to share that.
Share. Right.
But on the flip side, if you're, of course I'm not, but if you're over the age of 40, I've been asking all of my peers lately, do you have a mentor under the age of 30? Mm-hmm. Do you?
I do, actually. A couple of the colleagues my colleagues at work. I'm a principal in the firm, and so I'm looked at as the boss, which
Right.
I don't like that term.
Right.
We work together, we collaborate together. But sure, the folks in the office, they teach me things about Revit. They teach me things about our rendering program. They teach me about their background and what's important to them, because it's different from what's important to me.
Right.
But that richness of experience brings a richness to our work as architects and design professionals. So yeah, it's important. If I sit up on an ivory tower and want to give direction to everybody below, our work's going to be really bad. It's not going to be as good as it could be.
Well, and you just got a gold star on my calendar today, darling, because that is really the hallmark of good mentorship, is that it's an equal seat at the table. And I want to learn as much from you that you have to give me as you can learn from me. I may have more experience, but you're more up on the latest and greatest. And I'm not talking about just technology. And I'm not going to disrespect you and ask you to tell me how to program my phone.
Right.
I want to learn from you. And the minute you create that relationship right out off the, if you don't have a connection with your mentor or mentee, it shouldn't be happening. These companies put these programs together and assign you to somebody.
Yeah.
If you don't have that connection, it doesn't work, and that's why a lot of mentorship programs fail.
Yeah. No, it has to be that two-way street, and it has to be a voluntary thing.
Exactly.
And it's sometimes those are difficult with certain personalities.
Yeah.
And in the architecture practice, we have a lot of strong personalities.
Right.
But yeah, we all need to be open to being mentored as well as mentoring. And so I appreciate you saying that. So what has your involvement in CSI meant to you? That's a long question, I know.
How long did you say we had? No, I'm kidding. I'll make it short.
A couple of bullets, yeah.
I've known about that first firm when I was 20, that first architecture firm that I started in. They had 3 partners there, but the oldest one was, even though they were equal, was kind of the senior partner. His name was Chuck Seelig. And he was a founding charter member of the Portland chapter of CSI. And I just didn't have time for it. I was raising kids and a single parent for a while. But I was raised on all the CSI principles because of him being such a, so I feel like I've been in CSI since I was 20, even though I haven't been in CSI since I was 20.
Right.
And if I had any piece of advice to give anybody, is don't figure out in your 40s that you should have joined CSI straight out of college. Figure it out now, because I don't believe in regrets, but I really wish that I would have done that differently, because I was told to join plenty of times and I didn't listen.
Didn't do it, right.
I joined 8 years ago, and I have done more things in the last 8 years in my career than I did in the first 25.
Give me a couple examples of things that you've done.
Well, for example, the first time I ever spoke in public to other professionals was at the CSI at Construct in Nashville. I was terrified. Somebody asked me to submit something. You'd be a good speaker, and I told them they were nuts, and they wouldn't leave me alone, because CSI members won't leave you alone. Okay. So I submitted a proposal. I got an email saying, you're accepted to speak at Construct, and after I hyperventilated for about 6 months, I went to Construct to speak for the first time, and I felt like I was walking in front of the gods of the industry, and I was going to choke, and I was really a nervous wreck, and it takes a little bit to get me to be a nervous wreck. The session went great.
Session did go great. I was in the audience.
Turned out to be that maybe I did have something to offer our industry.
You absolutely do.
But the most, I think, because that was so early in my tenure at CSI, the thing that affected me the most was the arms that wrapped around me as soon as that was over.
Yep.
I didn't know you then.
That's right.
I didn't know a lot of people there, or just briefly met them. Sheldon Wolf walked up to me before that presentation. Joy introduced me to Sheldon, and because I knew his reputation, I looked at him and said, please don't come to my presentation. I didn't say, hi, nice to meet you, Sheldon.
Right.
You're a god of CSI, please don't come in that room.
Yeah.
We were laughing about that yesterday as he walked me up to get and read my citation to get my fellowship.
That's
but
great.
Everybody embraced me and supported me and empowered me all the way through. So now at the end of this year, I will have hit 220 speaking engagements since Nashville.
That's amazing.
And I teach the CDT, and I've had opportunities to go to all kinds of different regions. The leadership opportunities I've had in CSI. I got cornered by my chapter in my CDT class. I was not in CSI for 3 months.
Yeah.
We need you on the board. And I'm like, I don't even know you people. I don't know what your board is or what you do.
Or what we do,
You got a big mouth. We need you on the board.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just, and now I'm on the Institute board, and I've been able to chair national committees, and you grow. And I don't believe you ever. My theme right now is that I'm becoming, and I will be becoming until the day I die. Because as soon as you think you know it all, please retire.
Yeah.
Because you're standing in everybody else's way.
That's
I've
correct.
I can't even list them. The opportunities I've had, the people I met, my job now, and my last job, and the one before that, all came from my connections that I've made in CSI. People came looking for me because of the friendships, not because they're my friend, but because they've earned their respect, but they're also my friend. But I'm sorry, nobody in the right mind is going to hire somebody who they think can't do the job.
Right.
The personal growth of the people who have, I can tend to be a little type A, and I can tend to be a little
bit.
a little assertive sometimes, and people have helped me check myself sometimes, and sometimes you got to take slower steps with some things you want to change, and I couldn't list. It's like a family to me, and I'm always talking about CSI, and they're like, wow, you really sell that, and I have to explain to people, I don't sell anything I don't believe in. I don't sell anything, I write specs. But I sell CSI because I have not experienced anything in over 30 years of my career that has meant more to me or has brought this many amazing people in my life as I've had with this organization.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I echo that. CSI has meant the world to me. I'm a principal in our firm because of my involvement in CSI, the leadership growth that I've had, and it's an organization that I think everybody here on the show floor believes in. And so we're really glad you're a part of us.
I don't think anybody should be able to work in AEC without having project delivery training, which we offer.
Right.
Nobody else does,
Nobody
not
else
cradle to grave. And every time somebody takes my CDT class, they're like, this just changed my life. This just changed the way I work. So that's my next mission. Now that I have fellowship, my next mission is to make sure nobody can work in this industry without at least their CDT.
Well, I look forward to following you on that progress, and I'll help you any way that I can.
I know you will. That's why I'm here.
Well, Cherise, thanks for joining me today in the CSI studio. Again, I'm Marvin Kemp, been joined by Cherise Lakeside here in the CSI studio. Thanks for watching.